It's June, or at least it is at the time of recording, and that means it's Pride Month. So we're taking a heartbreaking deep dive into All of Us Strangers on this special episode of that song from that movie. I don't really like baths. No, I don't remember that
Been a
bit.
while since I watched the film.
It was slim pickings.
All I had were thoughts about Saltburn.
Oh, he just says fuck off. That's it. Anyway, thank you for joining that song for that movie, the journey through the very best and worst of movie songs. I am your eating takeaway on the sofa host, Dietrich, and joining us, as always, is the protector from the hooded claw, Alex.
Yeah, and I'll keep those vampires from your door.
Alex, you've absolutely fucked me over there.
Sorry.
And completing the lineup is the garlic which keeps the vampires from your door, Ben.
Do love garlic. You've always got to put at least 5 times the recipe originally states.
100% agree.
I don't understand these people who are 1 clove families. We're a 5 clove family here.
Substitute 1 clove for a bulb.
Yeah. Wrappings included because I'm lazy. If you really want the garlic, you'll work for it.
I would like to know, in the past fortnight, what have you been watching?
Aeroplane films, D?
Yes.
Come on,
I've been
D.
watching
It's good. Give us the
airplane
list.
films.
Give us the list. You've been on holiday, so tell us what you've been watching.
I flew to Vegas in California, which means I had an 11-hour flight there and back. The films I watched, here we go. On the way there, Wicked. Good film. The first 30 minutes of the Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim, the animated film from the other year,
Isn't that cack?
it was rubbish.
Yeah, it looks
Hence,
cack.
only 30 minutes of it. I don't often turn films off, especially when you're trying to waste time. But yeah, it was awful. Just terrible. So, we watched Kraven the Hunter.
So you went up a bar.
Surprisingly, yes.
From the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was very much.
To finish that off, we watched A Real Pain, which was brilliant.
Is that the Culkin one?
Yes, what he won the Oscar for.
I also watched that on a film. I also watched that on a plane.
A Real Plane.
A real plane, yeah.
And on the way back, watched Paddington in Peru.
Yeah.
I listened back to Alex's review of it back when I watched it back in November, and I agreed with everything you said. It's fun, but it's not funny. It's not as good as Paddington 2.
Not even bothered watching it.
It's fine. I've watched it again since. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I've also rewatched the first Paddington and was like, I remember this being better than it is. And that's just the power of Paddington 2.
It is the
Yeah,
power of
watch it.
Paddington 2. It is the power of Paddington 2.
The power of Paddington 2.
And finally, I watched the most recent Captain America film, which was fine.
How's
It
it?
had a warning at the beginning about aeroplanes crashing in it, which was fun. Yeah, there's a red Hulk.
That's what you should do when you're on a flight, just as like a real sort of power play. Just watch all disaster films. You should watch Alive, followed by Airplane. I'm trying to think. 2012.
Snakes on a plane.
Snakes on a plane. Yeah, Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah,
That
Con Air.
episode of Con Air. That episode of Goosebumps with the green ooze.
The Twilight Zone with the gremlin on the wall.
Oh yes, yeah.
There's
What,
something out there on the wing.
there's a Stephen King book about something on the planes, like a weird thing. It's a weird term. God damn it,
I
Benjamin.
think it's called It on a Plane.
Yeah, it on a plane. It on plane.
What about you guys? You watched anything in the past? Definitely more than fortnight?
I've been to the cinema once
Okay.
to see La 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 Lava Chicken, and you know I enjoyed it immensely.
Did you actually?
Yeah, we went to watch the Minecraft movie.
What did
What a joyous
hopefully
experience.
were people respectable when they started doing the chicken thing? Because I've seen some videos.
So you know what, we went really early, like it had literally been out a day. So I don't think that the internet had got hold of it in the way that it did afterwards.
It has,
So
yeah.
Right.
there was only like 5 people in there when we went to watch it. So yeah, it was quite quiet. It was quite quiet in there.
No foul
Not
play.
a lot of laughs. Or a lot of laughs. You know what? It's fine. Like we went to watch the Garfield film earlier last year, which is obviously another children's film. Awful, uninspiring, boring. You know, it was trying to take itself too seriously. The Minecraft film, for all of its how ridiculously stupid it was, at least it was fun. So there's a lot of children's films that are just not enjoyable. and this at least was fun in the sense that it was just you couldn't really explain to your own mind what was happening in front of you.
Yeah, I like those ones. You have to just disconnect like logical thinking for a moment. And
Have neither of you seen it? I'm surprised by that.
no,
Okay.
I don't know anything about Minecraft. It's a game that completally passed me by.
It's same.
You don't need
100%
to.
same.
You really don't need to.
Really? Okay.
Are you going to go watch the meme along version, Alex?
The meme version. No, but that
Oh
sounds
my
good.
god. Am I going?
Yeah.
Go on, Ben.
The only film that stands out that I've seen recently was The Sinners. I went to see the Ryan Coogler film, vampire film.
Coogler.
Yeah, it's really good. It's nice to have an original film after talking about the Minecraft movie.
What's not original about the Minecraft movie?
Yeah, fair. Maybe a meme along is the original part. I don't know.
Is there a meme along version of Sinners?
Probably not. Probably not.
So, it's time to get emotional as we break down All of Us Strangers and its feature song The Power of Love by Frankie Goes To Hollywood. But to find out what was happening in the world when the movie came out...
Time for some history.
I can't remember the last time we didn't go this far back, because we're only going to August 2023.
Feels
Better
like a lifetime
times.
ago.
Yeah, strap in, guys. Test the memory bank for this one. This was actually quite weird to look back on, because in August 2023, Trump was indicted. That went well. Meant a lot.
That's the last we'll see of him.
Barbie made $1 billion at the box office.
Barbillion.
Barbillion, yes. Up and Barbie and all that. And most significant...
Famously, Op and Barbie.
That's what they called it, wasn't it?
Barbenheimer.
Oh, yeah. And most significant of all, everyone turned on Lizzo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yep.
They did do that, didn't they?
Is she back yet? In Pog
I
form?
saw her face a lot in Vegas.
She might
On
be
like
back in
billboards
Boston.
and TV screens. She was everywhere.
I feel like her songs have started to creep back up onto mainstream radio. But yes, also in August 2023, the film All of Us Strangers came out, which is a romantic fantasy film written and directed by Andrew Haigh, starring the likes of Paul Mescal, Andrew Scott, Jamie Bell, and Claire Foy, which is basically the entire cast. The film is based on the Japanese novel loosely translated to Strangers or Summer with Strangers by Taichi Yamada, and the film follows a lonely screenwriter who develops an intimate relationship with a mysterious neighbour, all while seemingly visiting his childhood home where his deceased parents appear alive and well. So I'm assuming we've all watched this one. So, Dee, I'm assuming you've watched this fairly recently. Can we come to you first?
Yes, I have watched this in the past week for the first time.
Way.
So yeah, other than this being a film which I knew attempted to deal with, or at least was related to homosexuality, the only other thing I really knew about this movie was what you could see on the thumbnail on Disney Plus, that Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal was in it, and it was going to be very dimly lit for a lot of the movie. I remember both of you guys talking about it on a previous episode on a What Have You Been Watching segment. Both of you praised it. I hope that's still correct, because I want to praise it as well.
Yay, good. I put a lot of my hopes on your views of this, Dee. Just in general. Every time it's like, does Dee like the film?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was sort of taken along with the film. I wasn't really thinking too much about... Wait, can I talk about it yet?
Yeah, this is it. You should probably put in like a spoiler alert
Yeah,
or something.
we have to talk about it. So yeah, there's going to be spoilers. You have to have seen the film first.
If you haven't watched it, pause, go watch. It's on Disney Plus. Go watch it. I don't want to give any spoilers though. Just think The Sixth Sense. Oh shit!
Oh, shit.
It's like the 18th sense though, because 3 of them are dead.
I didn't know about a twist until I paused it in the middle and mentioned I was watching All of Us Strangers, and someone went, "Oh, is that the film where they're all dead except for Moriarty?" And I was like, "What?"
Referencing the TV show Sherlock.
Yeah, because of Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. So that was fun, but it didn't spoil my enjoyment of the film.
Right.
And annoyingly, like maybe 90 seconds later, the reveal happened. So had I not paused it, it would have been fine. But it still had its emotional impact on me, and I really enjoyed the film. A few of the things that I was going to go into critique when I was watching it, like I was trying to keep like a mental log of things I wasn't quite there with, was like Paul Mescal's performance, I was like, it felt a bit unnatural, but then knowing what happens, it's like, oh, maybe that was on purpose, because it felt like a teensy bit unnatural because it wasn't.
Supernatural.
Exactly. But yeah, I really enjoyed the film, and I would highly recommend it.
I enjoyed it a lot. I think, like, for what is quite a gimmicky premise, if I don't want to be harsh, I don't think that's harsh necessarily. I think it's quite a gimmicky premise, because you know going into it really that obviously his parents are ghosts. It's amazing how moving the film still is, and how much you do, like you said, to go along for the ride anyway.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's kind of is a little bit silly, sort of, the initial kind of like premise behind the film. But I think like the way that it's all presented helps with that, because it's never... I think it's like a very emotional film, and it does like kind of... It's easy to connect with the story of it. And I think like the way that it's kind of shot and pieced together has like this... they really create this sort of haunted world of isolation and misery and melancholy, with that like block of flats that they live in that no one else is living in, and the streets are quite often deserted. There's a lot of nighttime scenes. The whole thing feels very empty, doesn't it, except for the main characters, so it kind of create this kind of world of isolation.
Yeah,
really does.
When I got to the end of the film, I think kind of I'd twigged about what was going to happen. I don't think that necessarily ruins the film, being able to guess, because, you know, you in all of these things, like, there's the twist has to make, for the twist to make sense, it has to kind of not be obvious, but it has to kind of like be in some way expected. And I think like for me, that kind of, it lost its sort of I felt like they were going for devastating, and it ended up being just a bit sad, because you just like you feel so strongly for the lead character that you want him to be happy, that it just feels like it's just another way that he's not going to be. Kind of. And I think like the whole thing is tinged with it's not, and I think like I said, it's not, the whole film is not devastating. The whole thing is just like sad, and like even like the fact that the ghosts of the parents, you're like, well, are they ghosts? Are they actual or are they kind of his projections of what he wants these people to be?
Yep.
And I think like because of that split in the film, that you're not sure either way, like what they're supposed to be. That just adds to the whole thing, because you're like, well, is any of this actually real? Will he actually get any real comfort from this, or is this kind of all just? Because like it's not like they're played out, like his parents, for instance, are not played out as perfect characters by any means. Obviously, there's a lot of like conflict. So even if he is imagining them, he's kind of imagining them with their faults as well.
Yes.
But then there is that reconciliation at the end between them, and you're kind of like, well, is that truly how it all would have played out? But I guess you'll never know. And that's the same with obviously the Paul Mescal character. He's kind of the way the ghost Paul Mescal. There's obviously the spoiler alert. The relationship that they have is kind of like a perfect ideal of how it could have gone. But then you're never sure it would have gone that way, because it didn't go that way. You know, he didn't pursue him initially. So the whole thing just feels a bit like sad, depressing. You just feel like it's a real like weight to bear once you've watched it. You know, to take like another Paul Mescal film, like obviously we spoke about After Sun on another episode. Yeah. I think like that felt more like shattering. Like the whole thing was like so tense and difficult to watch, and then at the end, like you have this sort of like, like a devastating moment. Whereas thinking the whole thing was just thematically just sad, just on that level, like the whole thing, and it drains you in a different way. So you're not tense the entire time, but you're just kind of absorbing this life of. I mean, obviously there is, there's elements of triumph in there and things. It's not bleak completely, but it's it's just bleak tinged with bleakness.
It's just completely lost in an experience, isn't it? That's his kind of. I think you go at the start, like any film like this, of you ask a lot of questions like, wait, are they dead? Is he hallucinating? But then the characters don't seem fazed by anything, so you're just like, oh, I guess I've just got to go with it. Like even when Harry, like Paul Mescal's character, is asking him questions, and he talks about, he doesn't really talk like, oh, I've just met my parents, even though they're dead. He's like, no, I'm. He like alludes to like I'm having an experience I don't really know, and so it's all kind of like in a almost like dreamlike haze. it's like he doesn't need answers. He's just trying to experience different things, or things he never really had because his parents died so young. They're just playing out like on a record, I suppose. It's just kind of happening. There's no answer or real like narratively driven film, is it? It's just all kind of like interludes and segments and vignettes, really.
Yeah, I think he says in the conversation with the parents at the end something about like they were just proud of him because he like got through, and I think that's kind of what the experience is like. It's like the getting through of it all, isn't it? Sort of just get to the end.
Yeah. That scene, I mean, there's loads of great scenes. I love and we'll talk a bit about music because it's a very musical film. Dog just made a weird sound.
I assumed that was your stomach.
I thought it was your stomach as well.
No, it's Lila stretching next to me. Yeah, even though it's a very musical film, the Christmas scene I just mentioned now, when they're singing to the Pet Shop Boys, I just love, the interpretation of some of the lyrics. And the diner scene, oh my god, I saw this in the cinema and I saw it by myself. My god, I was an absolute wreck. And I think I was almost a wreck in a kind of quite cathartic way. That after the scene afterwards, I was like, "What?" Like I almost felt like it was ripped from me.
Yeah.
So it almost felt like it was a double turn. Like when maybe it didn't deserve it as much. On looking back and playing it, I quite like it because I think it adds to his character even more in a quite dark and depressing way. But yeah, that diner scene I just think is incredible. Like even in this projection, dream, ghost parents, he still lies to them about it. Like because they're saying like did it hurt?
Yeah.
In alluding to the car crash. And he's like, no, it was fine. But it wasn't. And it's that thing of like, he even to this fake dream ghost parents who are no longer here, he's still pretending and trying to be something for them, which it adds even more to that kind of the queer experience for him growing up, never really coming out to his parents or having some of the, like the conversation he has with Claire Foy around when they're having coffee, and it just felt so real. Of that kind of like, not just rationalising from a mother of coming out, but an 80s mother.
Yeah, I really did like that scene.
At a different time when she's just worried about like the like I guess like the AIDS and HIV epidemic which was rife in the 80s and all the kind of the news and hysteria around that, and you can just tell that kind of confusion and fear and uncertainty and a bit of love still coming through, and also his kind of like wrangling with, and she's asking like, she's picturing his wife, and he's just like, oh, how do I talk about this? I never thought I'd have to do this because you're dead, and I just think it's done so well. Andrew Scott's an incredible actor, absolutely incredible.
I think all the performances, to be honest, are all really good.
Yeah, and just it's a very physical film. There's a lot of resting on it, and obviously there's the sex scenes as well. I think is within the light system. I think are done very, very well. I think it just is an incredibly well-made film. But yeah, the original novel that the film is based on is more of a ghost story with horror elements. So there's like a Japanese adaptation of the book called The Discarnates, which is like a horror film. And I think that's how the book is originally kind of played out. Andrew Haig's a big fan of the book. And in the original version, it's a heterosexual relationship at its centre, whereas Haig wanted to... I quote, the distinct experience of a specific generation of gay people growing up in the 80s. He wanted to move away from the traditional ghost story of the novel and find something more psychological, almost metaphysical, which he's definitely done.
It's a complete success in that sense.
Yeah, I just love the atmosphere of it.
Yeah.
I think they actually made the sets like it's not an actual flat just because they couldn't get that atmosphere properly. You can tell by the camera positioning. Like, as much as shooting on real set is good, sometimes it does help, like where you can place a camera when it's a stage. Haig wanted a very authentic feel and the film to be a lot about self-exploration. He used his own childhood home for Adam's house. So Haig himself, he is gay. So this film is a very personal thing for him. The nightclub scenes were filmed out of the Royal Vauxhall Tavern. It's a very famous established gay nightclub in London. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of putting himself into the film, and we'll talk about that even more as we go into the music. But it's interesting, I was reading an interview of him, and he said just by him visiting his home and doing these scenes, he started to develop eczema, and he said, I've not had eczema since I was about 8. I think he was trying to talk about it in like a touching way. I was like, the house is probably filled with asbestos, mate. You need to get out.
Just maybe something in the dust.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Andrew Haig came out to his parents in his mid-20s. His father has dementia now, and he went into a care home during the making of Oliver Strangers. And he said that one weekend when he visited his father, he said that his dad no longer remembered that he was gay. And he was asking questions like, "Oh, are you married? Have you got a wife?" Things like that. And he said, and I quote, "I've been out to my dad for a very long time, and he's been beautifully accepting, and it had completely gone from his mind. I found myself suddenly having the same fear I had when I was in my 20s, of having to come out to him again, and I realised I couldn't do it because I didn't want to upset him. But in the end, he was quiet for a while, and then he said, 'As long as you found love,' and it felt like such a beautiful thing for my dad to say. He just understood what was the important thing, and in so many ways it spoke to so much of what this film was about. And then I had to come down again and shoot that scene with Jamie and Andrew in my old lounge, and it was very emotionally complicated." So you can just tell how much of himself he's put into the film.
Wow. What a story.
The film was incredibly well received, praised for its commentaries on grief, the queer love, its ability to convey emotion through this fantastical lens. And the film is on almost all best lists of 2023 and is already on some very early predictions for list of the decade.
I think it was nominated for BAFTAs and things, but it certainly didn't penetrate the American award season, did it?
No.
Which I think is interesting, especially considering it's got Paul Mescal in it, for instance, and he was nominated for Aftersun the year before. I was surprised that it didn't receive any Oscar nominations, for instance.
My only assumption is, so the film was released on the festival circuit in August 2023, but it wasn't released in the UK until January 2024. I think it might have actually, and then I guess in the States around that, I think that might be a bit late for the Oscars because they come out in February, don't they?
Mm.
I think sometimes with a lot of these stuff outside of big films, it's all about when you release and whether you're predicting the film to do well on the sort of award circuit. It's all political in it and really and stuff like that.
Mm. Yeah.
So All of Us Strangers has a strong musicality to it, from the electronic hums within the score to leaning into the various 80s British pop staples that connect the past and the present in the film. So we are drip-fed various classics. We've got a bit of Fine Young Cannibals in there. We've got a bit of the House Martins. Like I say, the use of the Pet Shop Boys cover of the Elvis classic Always on My Mind during that Christmas scene. I just absolutely love that. Because I think the lyrics of that song are even just the "You Are Always on My Mind" is core to the film. Because that's kind of the concept, I guess, isn't it? Or possibly the concept that even the fleeting moment with Paul Mescal's character sticks with him. And they have, 30 seconds of sort of sexual tension, maybe?
Yeah.
So yeah, in an interview with IndieWire, Haig said that, and I quote, "I think almost every single song that comes out was scripted. I knew the music that I wanted before I even started, and I made sure we got the rights to it beforehand. Everything was sort of designed with that in mind. The movie is about the power of music, weirdly to drag us back to the past." What do you think?
I don't disagree with that. I think the music is very powerful in that sense, that it does place you in a period of time, and it does make you think. It has a very, it's like a smell memory, isn't it? Where you smell something and immediately takes you back somewhere. It's kind of more sensual than vision, almost. Hearing a song that really places you back in a memory, almost.
Yeah.
So I think that he's definitely right.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you recall, so I might have to refresh you a bit here, Alex. You might remember. So at the start of the film, we have Andrew Scott's Adam. There's a few kind of vignettes of him just laying on the sofa, just eating ginger nuts, just watching news. And then it gets to the night scene. He has to go outside because of the fire alarm, and he comes back in and he's watching TV again. And he's watching a live recording of Frankie Goes to Hollywood's The Power of Love.
On top of the pops.
We have the opening. Yes, it is Top of the Pops, absolutely. And he pauses the song as Harry arrives at the door. So the song more or less bookends the film. And that's the song we're talking about today. The classic Frankie Goes to Hollywood track, The Power of Love. The most noticeable use of the song in the film comes at the bookend, with it being played in full as Harry and Adam lay together in this dreamlike haze. Harry drearily remarks to Adam that he could never stand how quiet their hotel was. No over-emphasis on the tense of that sentence. Harry lets Adam choose a song of his choice as he asks him to play something. And as the instrumental starts to play in the background, Adam starts to whisper the opening lines of the song. I'll protect you from the hooded claw, keep the vampires from your door. And then Ollie Johnson's vocals takes it from there. That ends the film as we kind of zoom out to this kind of almost like them on the bed into like a star.
Yeah.
Before the credits kind of crawl. What do we think of this? The song, its use, that scene?
My first line here is it might be one of the best songs ever written. I don't know if we need to discuss that or not, but that is my personal opinion.
But we can absolutely... Alex, you're you're my go-to sort of 80s music aficionado.
This was... I had it on my Creative Zen Micro, and I think it was my top played song. When you used to track what songs you played the most, this was my most played song on my Creative Zen Micro. Even though it is in some people's minds a Christmas song, but that's a baffling thing to say, in my opinion.
But it's because the video is very odd, isn't it?
Well, it's a nativity-based video, isn't it?
And it went for Christmas number one.
Christmas, but but it's not a Christmas song. It's an all year round song. Is what I'm saying. I don't mind you listening to it at Christmas. I'm not going to stop here. But what I'm saying is it can be listened to all year round. I just think like lyrically, just from the song's perspective, it's just like so interesting. Like in comparison to a lot of generic kind of pop love songs, especially if they got in the 80s as well. This is just so poetic, and it's kind of dark, and it drips and it oozes with these kind of really peculiar lines like tongues on fire, like you said, the hooded claw, vampires from your door. It's just kind of it's very gothic. And I think that kind of, for me, is why it works so well with the film, because it has that kind of haunted neo-gothic atmosphere the entire time. And the way the song is kind of crafted really just like fits in with that, in that it's about love and it's about passion and protection. And I think there's a lot in the film about like security and feeling safe, and the fact that Adam has never really had that security. His parents were taken away from him. He's lived a life where he wasn't able to be his true self for part of it. As like you've alluded to already, there's things like the AIDS pandemic. He's kind of lived a life where he's never felt truly safe to be himself. And so like the lyrics of the song are kind of the antithesis of that. They're about giving that protection to somebody and looking after them in a very passionate way. And you feel like that's kind of been separated away from him his entire life. So it's kind of, it adds to the sadness of it really, because you felt that maybe he was kind of getting that with the Paul Mescal character, that they were kind of that for each other. They were living in this really absent world together, and they could all of a sudden be that protective kind of veil. But then obviously that falls away as well in a way. But it doesn't as well. It's still there because I think like you said, there isn't much of a narrative drive to this film in terms of like what comes out at the end of it. But you do get the sense that the experience that he's been through has at least given him a bit of that protection mentally that he maybe didn't have before.
Yes.
So it kind of, in that sense, you do get that little tinge of like happy, like triumph at the end. And I think the song just plays its part in that as well. So yeah, for me, I think it's used perfectly in both at the beginning and at the end.
That was beautifully summed up, Alex.
Greatest song ever written. Straight off the dome from Alex.
It's probably not recorded properly.
So allow me to just reiterate all that.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't really have much more to add to it, because I just agreed with everything you said, Alex. So I really hope it did record. The song, it was almost like a mixture of emotions, because he was accepting that he died, as in God, what's his accepted?
Harry's character.
Yeah. So there was almost a bit of like cathartic nature to that, but also it was tinged with this sort of like, maybe he's not actually going to move on. Like he's just worked all that time to move on with his parents, and maybe he's not going to move on with this one he's going to go for that whole cycle again, as sort of never really, but now star-crossed lovers. But like that makes the pick of this song so good, because the performance of Holly Johnson is amazing in this song, and I think I agree with Alex. It's definitely up there as one of the greatest songs of all time. It's definitely one of the greatest performances of all time. It has well, similar to what I said, it has that cathartic nature. It almost feels like a song where you could imagine someone being like in a deluge of rain, listening to this song, nothing else matters, like a spiritual moment sort of thing. It just packs so much into it, and that's what makes it perfect for this scene, because they've done the same thing. They almost leave it on a bit of a, it doesn't matter what happens next.
Yeah, I agree, because he doesn't. I think that's maybe something I kind of struggled throughout the film, is not matching, and that might be just because of different of the experience of the characters to my own experiences, and or maybe like, you know, I'm trying to connect with the film on a cognitive level, like what's going on here, and it's trying to get me on an emotional level, and at the end I'm so like emotionally struck. I feel like I finally meet and match the characters at this diner scene, and then it goes again, like I'm still distraught, and he just seems like in this kind of very accepting, back to this protective mode, connecting. Yeah, I'm trying to like match myself again, and I just feel not disconnected in a negative sense, but just there's almost that kind of just confusion of emotions, like just a whole deluge of different feelings. And yeah, I love it. I do think the song just, it kind of capitulates it all in that it's just almost like a release. I love any attempt to bookend a film with like a theme or something start to finish. I just think that's such a good evidence of you're always thinking of where you're going and how you get there. I love the fact that they use music to link that. I think so often we've talked about how many modern films just don't use music and how powerful it is, even how we're talking about it, like Alex says, about just the memory sense of like just an olfactory feeling. The fact that they use music in this to connect with that, and because it's personal to the director, and because it's clearly something that the characters feel close to, I just think is perfect. And Drew Haig said himself about using the power of love. He said that, and I quote, "The idea that I used to love this song as an 11-year-old queer kid living in suburban England, and that I could put it in a film years and years later, now being very open about my sexuality, is something I never thought would actually be a possibility. I can make a film with queer content again, something I never thought would be a possibility. And I'm in a relationship, which is again something I never thought would be a possibility." I was like, fuck it, that's going at the end of the film. There's no way I was not doing that. I wouldn't even care if nobody liked it. But it seems like we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know much, Alex? Because I was reading a little bit, but like Frankie Goes to Hollywood, it seemed like they were one of the really open bands about their sexuality and used that in a lot of their marketing, or at least their record label used it in a lot of their marketing. I know the video for Relax was banned by the BBC very famously, which is, if you ever go and watch it, understandably, I think even by like a lot of modern standards, I think that was quite a risque music video. But yeah, it seems like they were quite important again in gay culture, and especially like mid-80s culture. I think they were like apparently the band of 1984, and everyone knows the big kind of t-shirts, I guess, which is famous decades afterwards. But I don't think they were around for very long, were they?
No, I don't think so. I think he maybe go solo as well at one point.
Yeah, he did. He did go solo.
Yeah, because like we watch a lot of Top of the Pops too, and like when these songs came out, the performances that they give are just absolutely incredible. They just, I mean, there are a lot of interesting performances that you can see on Top of the Pops too, so I would recommend it for everyone. But yeah, these in particular, they are just wow when you're watching it. It's just like you can see why they really struck a chord with people.
Yeah,
as well as the songs, obviously, which are amazing.
Yeah. I think this is a remastered version that's used in the film, because I think it's like a 1993 remastered, which is slightly more stripped back than the original. If you listen to the music video version, the original, and then you listen to this version, you just see they might have overloaded like a feeling, I guess, in the film just to add to make sure it matches the mood, because I think it's ever so slightly more bombastic, I think, in the original, which might have been a bit too extreme for the film.
What's the worst song you think could have happened there at the end?
I would, for an 80s version, what's the, in Ferris Bueller, the bomb bomb.
That would have been funny if he whispered that in his ear, though. If he just leant over.
play something you want, yeah.
Bomb bomb. And what about another 80s song, Ghostbusters?
Yeah. In fact, it would have fit the theme, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Like a John Lewis version of it. Who are you gonna call?
It's game time.
All right, game time. So what we're going to do, Alex, you're slightly in the lead of game time, whatever we're calling it, 3-2.
Am I? Okay, well.
Yeah,
Game
apparently so.
time.
Apparently so. Looking back, hope if my notes are accurate, who knows? Okay, so what we're doing this time is, now as we've alluded to, there are only 4 people in this cast. Okay, now I've taken those 4: Paul Mescal, Claire Foy, Jamie Bell, and Andrew Scott, and I've looked at what are their biggest box office hits that they've all been a part of, which that you get the opportunity to say 5 films. If you pick one of those people, if you pick their top biggest box office success, you get 3 points, their second 2, their third 1. So the chance for you to get 12 points from just getting all of their biggest box office hits each. And then we'll go through it. Obviously, if you pick something lower, you get 0 points, but we'll get 5 guesses each and see who totals that is. Does that make sense?
Yes,
so.
this is going to be difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because I can't think of many films that Claire Foy's
I can't think of any other than this.
Okay, Paul Mescal, Claire Foy, Jamie Bell, Andrew Scott. Dee, since you are behind, you get to go first.
Okay, for Claire Foy, All of Us Strangers.
It is not. It is her 5th highest box office hit, so it does not count. Alex, your turn.
I'll go for Billy Elliot for Jamie Bell.
Billy Elliot for Jamie Bell. That is his 6th biggest box office hit, 0 points.
God, really?
I'll go Jamie Bell, Fantastic Four.
It is his 5th biggest film, 0 points.
Am I allowed to go Jamie Bell again?
You can go Jamie Bell again, yep.
The Tintin movie?
The Tintin movie is his 2nd biggest box office
okay.
hit, so that's 2 points. Okay, so Alex is off the mark for 2. So 2 rounds in, Alex is on 2, D on 0.
Paul Mescal, Gladiator 2.
No.
That is his biggest box office hit, yep, absolutely. 3 points, D's back in the lead.
So Paul Mescal hasn't been in many films. I would say, After Sun, Paul Mescal.
Okay, After Sun is his 3rd biggest box office hit, so you get 1 point. So 3 apiece, 2 films to guess each.
Oh, God.
We're sticking very closely to Paul Mescal and Jamie Bell here.
I'm trying to think of an Andrew Scott film.
Andrew Scott's number 1 is higher than everyone else's.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. He's in 1917, so I'll go with that.
1917 is his 2nd highest box office film. Well done, D. That's 2 points, though. Up to 5.
That's good, though. So, God, I honestly can't think. So there's an Andrew Scott film that is the highest box office film of any of the films that any of them are in.
Oh, I think I know what it is as well.
He must be a small part in it. Must be like, is he like in a Marvel film or something? Is he an Avatar?
This is difficult.
Yeah, but you're doing well.
What's the overall score, Ben?
D, you're on 5, Alex is on 3, but Alex has got 2 goes left, and D, you've got 1.
I'm going to have to take a risk for my final one. I think I know what Andrew Scott's is.
Do you?
But I feel if I get it wrong, it's going to give the game away. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, because
Because Alex starts to guess after me.
Okay. Yeah, but I probably won't know it.
If Alex gets it, he takes it, even if he gets no points here.
Claire Foy's shoot will be a period drama. She's in period dramas.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of which one it is.
I think almost not a bad shout.
Was she in the... I was going to say, was she in The Theory of Everything? Was she in The Theory of Everything?
What are you guessing, Alex?
The Theory of Everything.
Are you sticking with Claire? Are you sticking with Claire Foy?
Why is there someone else?
She is
in that
not
film?
in The Theory of Everything. No, she is not in The Theory of Everything. I forget her name. It's the lady from Rogue One in Theory of Everything.
Yeah, Felicity Jones is in it, but I didn't know whether.
Oh,
someone
well,
was
if she
in it
is, it's not coming up as her. She must have a small enough role that doesn't count as a box office hit. D, you only need 2 points to win.
Fuck. So, I was trying to think of what the Andrew Scott number 1 film is, and I was like, is there a Sherlock film? And I then had this sudden brainwave of, no, there isn't, but he's in a James Bond film. So I'm going to hope this is the correct one and say Skyfall.
Okay, Skyfall. It is not number 1. No points. He's not in Skyfall.
Oh, no.
Do I have another guess?
Yeah, Alex, you're last. You need to get a 3. You need to get a 3-pointer to win. You can get a 2-pointer to draw, and we take it to a tie.
God, so he's in a James Bond film. So it's either Spectre or the one after that. Which is the name of it? Spectre. Is he in Spectre?
Spectre is Andrew Scott's number one film. Alex wins.
Oh, no.
879 million at the box office. Alex wins 6-5. I can't believe that worked as a game and was this close. That was good.
Was he a bad guy? Was he the main
he's the villain. He's the villain in Spectre, yeah. Well, he's not the main villain.
No, he's not the main villain.
No, he's not the main. He's like the almost like MI5 villain. He's like working against them from the inside. That's quite a good way of doing that one, actually. When the artist isn't big enough for me to do number ones.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Alex takes a 4-2 lead.
So that brings us into another episode of That Song for That Movie. Let us know what you think of All of Us Strangers and what you think of The Power of Love, the Frankie Goes to Hollywood version, not one of the many, many other songs called The Power of Love. You can let us know on one of our social media. Alex, what's our social media handle?
TSFTM pod.
So you can also help us by sharing this on Reddit. But Ben, what random subreddit should everyone share it on this week?
The Frank Sinatra subreddit. That's where they get their name from.
Oh, right, okay.
Amazing.
Yeah, because it's from a news article about Frank Sinatra when he started his movie career. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. That was the headline.
Learn something new every day. So you can also help the podcast by sharing this wherever you listen to it, giving it a 5-star review, and telling all your friends about it. If you want to help us financially, we have Patreon, we have a merch store. All the links are in the show's notes. So all that's left now is to do some goodbyes. So it's goodbye from myself, goodbye, and goodbye from Alex.
Chicken Jackie!
And goodbye from Ben.
Can't do it. Meme along.
You want to come up with a meme along version of All of Us Strangers?
I'd rather not.
So goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
And we're holding up the bypass.
Whoa. Me and my dad having a top laugh.
It's a great song. I'm sitting on a toolbox.
It's not.
It's because you ain't got Bruce Lee's nunchuckers.
I'm so glad I'm not in school, boss. So glad I'm not in school.
It is a song about being a cunt.
Well, there you go. That's the end segment of this podcast sorted.